Did you see this? These are the goals that I set last year. Let's see how I did. Starting with the projects video. My goal was to spend only 2 months on this year's projects video, which might not seem too bad until you realize I spent 5 months on it last year. It started as the silly idea of talking in a reversed time-lapse for the intro, but it became a whole ordeal. I grew out my hair really long.
Look at this thing.
While I composed some music with lyrics. Once the music was done, I created a big spreadsheet, keeping track of which lyric went to which hair length, and day number, and pose, and all that. And then it was just 2 months straight of matching camera angles, synchronizing audio, drawing whiteboard images, and even giving myself haircuts, yes. After so much editing later, I then decided, why not make it inside of a DVD menu? And then hey, why not put that inside of a TV on a desk in 3D and After Effects? But this year, it's only supposed to take 2 months, right? Well, I don't know yet, so let me ask the bird who can tell the future, the timer. Oh, timer, did I get this video out in 2 months? I did, cool. My next goal from last year was to release Mindblocks 1.31. I kept the details of the update a secret for 2 years, but I did end up releasing it at the end of the year. I added a multiplayer minigame called Scavenger Hunt. And, well, that wasn't easy. There were a lot of new menus and pop-ups and stuff. And because Mindblocks isn't made in Flash anymore, I had to use a different program to design the update. Figma. And since this update included multiplayer, I had to do a lot of extra work to make sure the server was secure and good. By the way, one of the early spoiler videos was about that ghost, right? Well, the way I made that was actually by placing a ton of ladders everywhere and using the ladders to float around like a ghost. I guess it was convincing though, because a lot of people thought it was a new mob. Along with the update, I also released a Mindblocks Patreon, so people can support the server costs and get behind-the-scenes content and scavenger hunt bonuses in return. Some of you probably remember that I planned to do this 5 years ago, but it just made more sense to wait until I could provide something more valuable in exchange. So, I managed to release Mindblocks 1.31 just 1 day from New Year's, just barely making my goal. Which leaves 1 day for me to achieve the Mindblocks 2 goal, which was work on the port at the end of the year. Well, that's easy enough. I just have to find the simplest code to work on to get the game from 8% to 9% ported. And, well, there you have it. Another goal technically conquered. And that leaves just one more goal from last year. But, it was a stretch goal, so... Oh, so instead of that though, I did accomplish a goal that I set not last year, but way back in 2016 and 2017 instead, which is, I finally finished a new SpongeBob song. I started it 8 years ago, but never could get it to that finish line until last year. The motivation was to post it in celebration of my previous SpongeBob remix reaching 1 million plays on YouTube. So I spent about a month on the new music video, which features a ton of rotoscoping. Rotoscoping is like cutting out a character from an image, except you do that for every frame of an animation. I did this to place text behind characters like this, or to change background colors and reimagine scenes completely, all sorts of things. But again, that wasn't on the goals for last year, so... So that was the recap of last year part of this video. That was a pretty good year. Hopefully we can replicate that this year with the plans I'm about to make. But first we ought to see this presentation by LearnDog, my new secretary. He's crunching the numbers. Say, LearnDog, how are things looking? So according to last year's report, this YouTube channel went from 17,000 to over 18,000 subscribers. So that means we, next slide. So we surpassed the number of brain cells that a sea slug has. I guess if we all roleplayed as a single brain cell, we'd at least impress a sea slug. Anything else on the report? Oh, you want cheese? Well, of course, my dude. Here, catch. Hut.
Hole in one.
Yay. Oops, sorry. All right. So it's 2024, and in front of me, I see these 5 projects. To fully bring back Mindblocks 2, fully bring back Rogue Among Robots, release Grumbler, add texture packs to Mindblocks 1, and start working on Fynnland again. But why? Why Rogue Among Robots of all games? Why texture packs specifically? And what's a Grumbler? Well, let's just start at the top with Mindblocks 2. I want to bring it back to life this year because I still see something big in it. I mean, yes, it's a starting point to a game we've seen before, right? But to me, it's a project that I have more freedom to explore with than I do with Mindblocks 1. Like, there's this huge infinite world where I can add unique items and cool creatures and emergent interactions and all that stuff, make something my own, So, the goal this year is to port all of Mindblocks 2 to HAX and release alpha version 0.8 with a release video. And if you want early access to that, I'll be sharing it with the Mindblocks Patreon supporters as I work on the update. The other revival that I wish to do is Rogue Among Robots. Why? Well, 2 reasons. So backstory, I made Rogue Among Robots at university with 2 very talented artist friends of mine. And at the end of the year, one of our professors was driving us to a game development conference when he directed a very simple question to me: will I actually release Rogue Among Robots? And my answer, well, I first need to optimize it a bit and add some features we talked about that would make it more fun. And he basically stopped me and said, okay, so you're not going to release it. And it was silent. I didn't think that was the answer, but as fate would have it, indeed, other projects came up, like Fynnland, and then university eventually ended, and so did Adobe Flash, and so the game ended up not being released. And the second reason? What I really want to do, ultimately, is to put Rogue Among Robots into my collector's bundle, specifically as a replacement for Hexagon Tribute. Now, Hexagon Tribute was always supposed to be just a fan game of Hexagon and Super Hexagon. And, well, over time I feel like I was kind of being disrespectful to that by allowing my tribute to be part of my collection, stamped with my name and having a price tag on it. But on the flip side, I would be more than proud to showcase Rogue Among Robots in my bundle with the blessings of the designers I worked on it with. I mean, it's original, I think it's fun, and it would fit perfectly fine in the collection, so that's why I hope to revive Rogue Among Robots this year. Alright, so yeah, what's a Grumbler? Grumbler is an audio plugin that makes a certain chiptune sound that I really like. It sounds like this. I created this plugin using the Steinberg VST3 SDK in C++, OMG. Which, honestly, was quite challenging, especially because there aren't many examples or tutorials to learn from, which is why I'll actually be providing the source code of my plugin once it's out. But that said, all of that is actually done. I made the plugin last year, and the only thing left for me to do is actually make some music with it and create the YouTube announcement video to showcase it. So yeah, that's Grumbler. The second to last goal is to add texture packs to Mindblocks. And it would be a fair thing to ask at this point, why texture packs now? The first, more obvious reason is because Mindblocks has looked pretty much the same for many, many years now, and that's sort of intentional. I mean, changing too much would lose some of what makes Mindblocks feel like Mindblocks, if that makes sense. But with texture packs, players who want the game to have a fresh coat of paint can make it look however they want. And the second reason is that texture pack work will get us closer to having Mindblocks resize for different screens, including working better on phones and stuff. That is the ultimate goal of Mindblocks version 1.32, and texture packs will just be the first update of that. Oh, and also I think maybe the most requested item will be added. Anyway, the last thing that I've got planned for this year is to bring back the Fynnland project. Fynnland is one of the most creatively fulfilling projects that I've ever worked on. It's original, it's complex, and it's built on all the stuff I enjoy, like randomly generated worlds and survival gameplay and dreams and pixels. And I don't think I'm alone on that. The visuals and the concepts seem to really resonate with people. But just like all of my other projects, it got put on pause because Flash died. Not to mention the game's artist, Prism, moved to the literal other side of the world. But it's not his fault at all that we paused. It's fully on me to get the project back up and running, so that's why I want to start the porting process before the end of the year. Well, what do you think? Do you think I'll accomplish all these goals this year? And which one do you think I'll succeed at the most? And which one do you think I'll fail at the most? Anyway, massive thanks to Pi, XXL Productions, and Crystal for nearly fully supporting the cost of my website domains last year. And another huge thanks to Gary, Japonizul75, and again Crystal for being MindBlock's Patreon supporters. Thanks, guys. All right, have a happy 2024, and see ya! Oh wait, I almost forgot one thing. Yep.